Hey, in today's video, let's talk about how often do you release your product to the public. So last week I went to different online communities. I started to ask the people there, how often are they releasing their products? I basically created polls and added different options. Do you release every day? Do you release weekly? Do you release monthly? Couple of times per year, once a year, or less than once a year. Surprisingly, I got over 850 votes, which was actually really great. So thank you everybody that was voting in those different online forums. And the places where I was actually asking were Reddit, Facebook groups, and the online community of this channel here at YouTube. So if you want to participate in this type of service in the future and share your thoughts with us, join and subscribe to the channel. So let's go through the results of the survey and see how often people are actually releasing their products to the public. So people that voted for every day were 12% of the participants. This makes sense a lot for people that are having SaaS products. So people that are building cloud products and software as a service that they don't need to necessarily update an app that needs to be downloaded by users. In those cases, makes a lot of sense that all these cloud products can release basically continuously into their products and make it available as soon as it's ready to their customers. Different story is how they're going to message it, how they're going to get it to the market. Very different story. We're just talking here about releasing the product to the people. The next option that I put, it was weekly. Here I made a mistake. I didn't clarify. I was thinking when I put weekly, I was just thinking that weekly or, every couple of weeks per month. But I didn't clarify that. I just set it up as weekly. Very quickly, many people were saying and telling me that, hey, you don't have an option for biweekly. Why biweekly? Because many sprints, people that are using sprints and using Agile, they're doing biweekly sprints, meaning that by the end of that sprint, they have a chunk or new feature available, they release it to the public. And that's a very common practice. I missed that completely. I explained it that yes, if you're doing biweekly, please share it there, but it was already there. Not everybody was reading the comments. And I couldn't edit all the posts of the polls in the different communities. So that is a little bit biased. Still, it's a 30% of the people that are doing this type of release. I'm guessing again, most of them probably are going to be cloud-based products and not app-based products. The next one was monthly releases. And this was the most popular option with 33% of the participants voting for them. This is a very common reason for many companies because it's either because you just do it monthly or you do one iteration of 2 sprints. That's a very common process to do, meaning 4 weeks of development. And after that, you do the release to the public. This is even common for companies that are actually doing app products, meaning, for example, a mobile app or meaning a desktop app, like a Windows application. This is a very common process or a very common cadence of releasing to your audience. This doesn't mean that you're releasing a main version. It might be that you're releasing just a maintenance or increase or incremental version or something like that. And now we move towards the ones that are not releasing that often. The first option being a couple of times per year. Here, what I've seen very commonly is that they release maybe twice or 3 times per year. And many times they release maybe couple of main versions over the year, and that's how they go. And maybe sometimes they release a maintenance version in between those ones. This is a relatively common process for those ones that typically release one main version per year. This is a very common process still for many companies out there. Not ideal, something that probably many of them could be changing, but there might be reasons why they cannot change. And here, 20% of the participants voted for this option. The next option is once a year. I'm guessing here, probably people, when they're talking about releasing product once a year to the public, they're thinking about releasing a main version and maybe not necessarily any kind of release, like a maintenance release or some kind of optimization of the product. Didn't get to be able to dig in. Yes, we could have done a much more complex survey, but then those would be not supported directly in the communities. I would have to put a link. And usually those ones get much less responses. Here, the rate, it was really low. It was a little bit over 1%, which is not unexpected. And the final option, it was less than once per year. And surprisingly here, there was over 2% of the people answering this. So more than there was once a year, which is kind of surprising. On the other hand, thinking about it, who might be doing this okay, you could say, for example, Windows is not released every year. And that's true, but they, of course, are releasing again maintenance packages and service release packages. I don't know how they call them, but they release usually several times per year to the customers. On the other hand, there are maybe certain type of products that might not release that often. And something that came to my mind might be people that might be working in something like, I don't know, more like that are under regulations, or softwares that are monitored by heavy regulations. So things like, for example, healthcare products, maybe defense products, although I don't know if those are that. I never work in any defense products, so I have no idea. I know people working in healthcare. I know that they have a ton of regulations that they had to go through in those products. And maybe in those ones, when they're thinking about the main versions, they might take a little bit longer. I'm guessing here, I'm not completely sure, but that might be one of the type of products that are going in those kind of very long development process or release process. Hey, if you know anybody or if you know any product that is going through this kind of very long development and release cycle processes, share with us in the comments below. Let us know what the industries are those products in. As I say, I did these polls in different services or in different online communities, Reddit, Facebook, and YouTube. Reddit pretty much had the same share as the results that I just mentioned because it was by far the one that took most of the votes, being 835 votes. The next one was Facebook. And here, surprisingly, okay, there was not a ton of answers, so 21 answers, but a ton of them, more than 80%, 85% to be exact, were voting that they were releasing weekly. And that's, yeah, a very big difference compared to the other ones. And then the rest of the options were shared between every day, monthly, and a couple of times per year. The YouTube results, they were not extremely different from the main one, with every day being 12%, weekly being 25%, monthly 43%, and a couple of times per year, 18%. So this was a very interesting exercise, and I think that I'm going to be conducting more of this in the future. Hey, by the way, let me know what are the platforms that you are in where I could drive those polls, so I get your feedback and get your opinions on this, how you're working, because I think it's very interesting for everybody to see how typically people are working and typically people are doing things. So again, comment below and let us know. So what do you think about the results? Do you think that they make sense? Do you think that no, they don't? Again, share your comments with us. While talking about product releases and product launches, it is also very important to make sure that when you're doing a product launch, you're doing it correctly. And I'm thinking about the main product launch, not necessarily about an incremental or a small maintenance release. If you want to see a video about how to do product launch, go check this one out. I will see you in the next one. And remember, stay safe.